Collapse Stadium is a really good card against Mew, so that's tough to see in the prizes from Alex. A Power Tablet could be a little annoying on Gabriel's side, but it does look like it's one of those bottom cards. The Choice Belt, another damage modifier, not the best to see in your prizes.
Does look like Gabriel plays 2 copies of Choice Belt, though, so not as detrimental as usual, but...
Yeah, just trying to find them, right?
Yeah.
Because that's really kind of one of the keys in this matchup is digging for all the damage modifiers necessary to reach for a big knockout on an Arceus V-Star or a basic Arceus V even.
All right, it looks like our players are ready and starting. Alex Garcia on the left is going first. Starts off with a quick ball. Has the ability to discard a water energy, but looked like opting for the Inteleon here.
Yeah, losing Inteleon always feels a little awkward. It's one of the most powerful cards in the deck. That Shady Dealings ability allowing you to grab any 2 trainer cards out of your deck and put them into your hand. But Alex has the bare minimum of what you want to see when you're playing Arceus going first, and that's an Arceus V and an energy card.
I mean, you can't really ask for more. It's the turn 2 where you need a lot of stuff.
Yeah. You got to get that energy attachment turn 1 so you can try to get off the turn 2 Trinity Nova. Alex also obviously does play the Melanie, so can theoretically still pull it off if you miss the energy drop. So in this matchup, what Alex really wants to try to do here on turn 1 is bench an Arceus V, get an energy on it, and then also bench a Sobble, so that if Gabriel plays an Escape Rope, he can push the Sobble up as a 1 prize option and doesn't have to put this Arceus with an energy in harm's way.
And that's where those Pokemon catchers are going to come in handy for Gabriel to try to snipe down some of these KOs on the Pokemon that Alex is trying to charge up. But here we do see the second Quick Ball finally discards the water, so that means Melanie will now be active for the following turn if Alex finds it. And with this, it does look like that Sobble, just like you said.
Yeah, and Alex has a pretty great hand for the next turn, has a Marnie and a Drizzile, so he'll have plenty of options. Even if Gabriel does utilize Escape Rope and he has to push up the Sobble and it gets KO'd, that's just fine because you still have the Marnie to fall back on.
Now, with the energy, you could attach it to the bench here. It kind of saves it just from the initial attack, but you do kind of give up a little bit to Escape Rope if you don't want to get rid of that Sobble. But very good turn 1 here from Alex.
Now, let's not forget, Gabriel is playing Pokemon Catcher, and that is a Tails there on the first one. And that's the thing Gabriel's going to want to try to do. That would be the ideal turn here, right, is getting a Alessa Sparkle, putting 2 Fusion Strike energies in play, finding another Fusion Strike energy, and then using Pokemon Catcher to bring up Arceus V, finding a damage modifier, and taking a 1-hit knockout on a Pokemon that has an energy attached to it.
A little bit of an awkward hand here for Gabriel. Has an Ultra Ball to thin down and dig for another Genesect V if he chooses to, but gonna have to discard some cards. You don't really want to discard. That Training Court is very important in a lot of these matchups.
And is he deciding to discard Meloetta?
Oh, no.
Because his second Meloetta is in the prize cards, and Gabriel has not searched his deck yet, so he doesn't know if Meloetta is here or not, and I think is now realizing I have just discarded my only Melodious Echo option, and that is one of the best attacks in this matchup.
That is rough to see, and now you just have to pivot your entire game plan for this turn. You're not going to go for that giant Melodious Echo with a Power Tablet or Choice Belt. You're going to have to just maybe Energy Assist.
Yeah.
Energy Mix.
Yeah, I don't know that you want to put that Mew V in harm's way necessarily, but Energy Mix is an option. You could also theoretically like Psychic Leap a Sobble, you know, with an Escape Rope play, because Alex would likely send that up if you played the rope. So that is a possibility.
Depending on the last 2 cards in Gabriel's hand, he could thin it down to draw some cards here. Looks like, oh yeah, it was 2 Training Courts in hand. That has to be rough. And a Mew VMAX to go along with it, so you can't really thin that down.
Yeah, and I think Gabriel had to make the decision, what is better to discard it? Should I discard my 1 Meloetta in hand or my 1 Mew VMAX in hand? And he only plays 2 copies of each of those cards, so which one is worse to potentially lose your only copy of? Is it worse to lose your only Mew VMAX or your only Meloetta? I think it is definitely worse to lose your only Mew VMAX. So decided to hang on to that card just in case the Mew VMAX was the one that was in the prizes.
Yeah, and thankfully it's not. There's just a regular Mew V, but
Yep.
that would have been very scary.
Ooh, and Quick Ball is discarding a Fusion Strike energy. What an awkward opening hand for Gabriel.
You don't need it anymore. You don't have Meloetta.
I mean, that's true. Listen, I'm being optimistic here that we're going to take it off the prize cards, okay? I mean, that can still come in late game and be pretty solid, but yeah, I mean, Gabriel, I guess, recognizing, hey, no Meloettas. I'm not even going to use Melodious Echo this game.
Still has that Mew VMAX in hand, but gets to draw 4 cards thanks to that third Genesect, and these cards aren't very good. Finds the Battle Pass, is able to use that this turn, which the only turn you can use it, so might as well use it to get rid of it. But
And let's see if Gabriel eyes up the Genesect here for the extra card draw, or will it be Oricorio? Oricorio can be really nice because it allows your Genesects to hang on from a Trinity Nova attack, so that's not easy boss targets for Alex to just take 2 prize cards. And those are the 2 options Gabriel's deciding between right now. He's having a tough time picking.
it also does help the regular Mew V survive a hit with a double turboed
That's right.
Arceus.
That's right. Yeah, definitely plenty of relevant math for the Oricorio, but the hand must just not be the best yet. Gabriel wants to draw more and try to set more pieces up. Uses the last Genesect.
For 2 cards here. Oh,
Yeah, just quick balling to thin. Deck is already randomized, so is all good. And looks like, yeah, just a quick little shuffle there.
still says it on the card.
Yes, it
Shuffle
does.
your deck.
That's why you got to play your quick ball before you finish shuffling your deck, after your next search.
And with that, the Genesect will draw 4 cards here, and still no supporter.
I think that Sparkle's in hand, actually.
Oh, okay.
I think did hit the Sparkle. The question is going to be, where do the energies go? And I guess just the 2 Mew Vs are pretty good. But where does Gabriel go from here? Does he retreat this Mew V into one of these Genesects?
I think you could. It's going to be most likely getting KO'd next turn with a Melanie play and an Arceus V-Star, but
I guess that's his question, right?
Yeah.
Is it better to lose a Genesect or better to lose a Mew V? And that's what Gabriel's got to decide right here.
it has to be the Genesect, especially with all the energy in these Mew V. You're down Meloetta, so you need these attackers.
So something interesting here as well is the fact that Alex attached an energy to the bench, which is obviously what you should do in this matchup because you don't want to just have your active get KO'd by a Melodious Echo. But just the way things have played out, now Alex needs to find like a Melanie or something like that in order to pull off a Arceus V-Star attack with the active, because right now it's really difficult to switch into the bench and find an Arceus and a double turbo energy. There's a lot of different ways to pull off an attack here. Let's see what Alex chooses to go with.
It's looking like shady dealings for Evolution Incense to eye down that Arceus V-Star and get things going here. And with that, it's a simple double turbo Melanie, but that doesn't take the knockout.
Yeah, he has to, can't shady dealings for, cannot shady dealings for Arceus V-Star. Shady dealings for the Evolution Incense does work, though, and now Arceus comes into play. And Starbirth can actually just get double turbo and Melanie. But that's not going to be enough to knock out this Genesect. It does have 190 hit points, so that would mean Alex needs to find either the Choice Belt or something like the Zigzagoon. But actually, looking over at his list, he does not play Galarian Zigzagoon. That's a pretty normal inclusion in most Arceus V-Star decks, so I'm a little surprised to see Alex is choosing not to go with it.
2 cards were grabbed for the Starbirth, and double turbo was one of them, as with the Melanie. So just needs to draw that Choice Belt off those 3 cards here to take the knockout. If not, this attack kind of doesn't really do too much. You have quick shooting later on.
And that is a pretty decent option, to be honest, because Gabriel's already got all the Fusion Strike energies in play. There's 3 on the bench and 1 in the discard pile. So you can't, like, protect this Genesect with a Fusion Strike energy so it can't get quick shooting. So that'll be 2 prizes Alex can take later on in the game. This actually could work out really nicely.
Could kind of force Gabriel to retreat this Genesect and not have access to something like an Oricorio or Meloetta if there was a second one to come down.
So Alex does go with the Trinity Nova. A big miss there, though. I don't think Alex was able to get down another Sobble, which is really what you want to do. That's how this deck functions, is by using multiple Drizziles and building up to eventually Inteleon, though we did obviously see Inteleon hit the discard pile already in this game. you still really want to get those Sobbles in play when you can.
Cram-O-Matic number 2. This one is a heads, though, so being able to search your deck for any one card.
Is going to eye switch. That is pretty solid. That can get the Genesect out of the active spot. Mew VMAX has already been evolved on the bench, so it's ready to start attacking. And it is possible for Gabriel to reach for a one-hit knockout here. He needs to find 3 damage modifiers to one-hit KO this Arceus V-Star, needing to get some combination of Choice Belt and Power Tablets.
5 cards from the first Genesect here. Power Tablet is found.
Another Cram-O-Matic, it looks like. Ooh, and a Boss's Orders. Not ideal. Does have Cram-O-Matic to get rid of Echoing Horn, but Echoing Horn is such a good card in this matchup. It feels bad to discard off your Cram-O-Matic.
Yeah, it's unfortunate that it's the only other item card in Gabriel's hand here.
It might just be what he has to do. And you can see he does not want to get rid of this Echoing Horn, recognizing how important it is for the matchup, bringing back a low HP Arceus V that's much easier to take 2 prizes on. But you got to play out of a bad hand somehow. And it looks like it's a Tails.
All right, so still has 3 more Genesects to try to draw into this. This is the one benefit for this Mew VMAX deck, and does find another Power Tablet here.
Okay, very good. Just needs 1 more modifier. Has Rotom Phone. Still 2 more Genesects to utilize. Let's see, is there a modifier? No, not yet. Does get another Rotom Phone, though. That's a pretty easy card to choose to stack on the top.
But remember, there is that Choice Belt and Power Tablet in the prizes.
Right.
So
He's
only
digging
has
for the
2 outs left.
Yeah, digging for one of just a couple outs. The nice thing about Rotom Phone, though, is it lets you see so much deeper into the deck before a Genesect. Still has 2 Fusion Strike systems available, can still draw a bunch more cards this turn. And if there's a deck that can make it happen, it's definitely Mew VMAX.
Card goes back on top thanks to that Rotom Phone. The second Power Tablet is going to be played, and the attachment to the active Mew V. So
he's going for it.
Able to thin the hand down a lot. This is the 3rd Genesect here. 3 cards, another Rotom Phone. Oh.
Doesn't have anything else, really needing to find the modifier here. Last card does not hit it. So he's going to want to thin the hand down as much as possible here and just hope that after the Rotom Phone, whatever other card he finds is an out or is one of those damage modifiers itself.
This is the bad part about Rotom Phone, where you need 1 card, and you already know your top card isn't it.
Right. It makes you're almost like, can I just take none of these? Can I just please shuffle all 5 back into the deck?
Yes, please.
Maybe it's actually fine to put an item on top, though, because now Cram-O-Matic becomes a out, quote-unquote, where you still need to obviously flip a heads. Gabriel's been holding on to this Rose Tower in hand. Could have played it down earlier on to draw a card and also draw 1 more off Fusion Strike system, but has held off on putting it in play. I think really wanting to get use out of the training court or hold off on, you know, putting that Rose Tower in play. I don't know.
Looks like he is opting to play that Rose Tower. Now just 3 cards in hand. Do you boss just to get another card out?
I guess you could do that because you still are knocking out an Arceus, so that might be what Gabriel's considering. Am I really just going all in on I have to find the modifier?
Here we go.
And he's going all in. 1 card off of the Rose Tower. It's an Ultra Ball, which he put on top of the Rotom Phone, and now can thin that card out, thin 2 cards out of the hand, and will now draw a full 6.
All 3 were on bottom. The Cram-O-Matic, Power Tablet, and Choice Belt.
So now drawing a full 6 off the Genesect, hoping to find one of those outs and dig for this knockout.
About 20 cards or so left in deck, possibly less.
1,
6
2,
cards.
3, 4.
Oh,
Not yet.
no.
5.
Oh,
Does he miss? He doesn't miss. He missed. Doesn't find the damage modifier. Left in the deck is a Cram-O-Matic, a Choice Belt, and a Power Tablet. By not getting any of those modifiers, Gabriel's just going to be dealing 270 damage, 10 short of picking up this KO.
This is not what you want to see from Gabriel's, I think. Watch, you're going to find it now off this Rotom phone.
Yeah, of course, and he knows, it's right there, and I just missed. I just missed.
That Cramomatic was in the top 2 also. Oh, that is heartbreaking. No other way to draw cards this turn. All the Genesects have been used. That Rose Tower has been used. Mew is dealing 270 damage.
And this is one of those awkward spots you can find yourself in with Mew, where you need to hit so many pieces in order to one-hit KO an Arceus V-Star. It's just got so much HP. It's really difficult to get there, and if you miss those pieces, you're left just short. And Alex Garcia is playing a couple copies of Sharon's Care.
Oh, yeah. That card's pretty good right now, huh?
Yeah. I think it's pretty good whenever you can keep a Pokemon that's 10 HP away from being KO'd. And just pick it all back up and take away that prize condition from your opponent.
270 damage on that Arceus V-Star in the active spot, but now it's up to Alex to see if he can find...
Has the Ultra Ball, but that Shady Dealings Intellion has already hit the discard pile. But Ultra Ball actually could find the Quick Shooting Intellion and take a 2-prize KO on the bench, and that is pretty strong if you ask me.
Part of me was wondering if you're Gabe, do you play the Pokemon catcher to try to hit that Drizzile since you missed the knockout?
I mean, it feels a little weird to go for a boss's orders on an Arceus and then just catcher something else up, but definitely a little bit of an awkward scenario regardless. This hand is...
Alex already has the Sharon's Care in hand.
Has the Sharon's Care and also has the Ultra Ball to get the Intellion. So Alex has plenty of options, also has a Marnie to fall back on the future turn. And Alex can actually make use of Gabe's Rose Tower here. Can thin down the hand as much as possible. I think could just draw one card, and that's always one of my favorite things whenever my opponent is playing a stadium like that, is when I get to utilize it.
Oh, yeah.
Like whenever my opponent puts a Tropical Beach in play, I'm like, yeah, I can't afford this card, but I can use yours, so that works for me
I can afford to use yours.
Yeah. So now Alex looking through the deck. Could also just establish another Sobble here and save that Genesect KO for later in the game. It's something you're going to be able to knock out regardless at some point, so you don't necessarily have to go for the quick shooting here. And so I think Alex agrees with that and just goes for another Sobble, wants to establish the board a little bit further.
And being able to just Drizzile in the future turns really just prevents the comeback that Gabriel might be able to do here with a deck like Mew VMAX. Rose Tower 4-1 finds a path to the peak.
Jeez, and that's why Gabriel was holding off on playing the Rose Tower, because he was aware that Alex was playing multiple Path to the Peak in the list, and that is now one less stadium card to potentially bump the Path to the Peak in order to draw out of the ability lock.
I just got to say, that's all the stadiums gone. Gabriel started with 2 training court in hand, had to discard one. And then with that Rose Tower, that's all 3 stadiums gone. That Path to the Peak is staying in play.
So Alex chooses to just Marnie as opposed to playing the Sharon's Care, just valuing seeing more cards here. And I think this is fine, recognizing that Gabriel's got 3 stadiums in the discard pile. It's unlikely that he's going to be able to do much this coming turn. You can just pretty confidently 2-hit KO this Mew. The bench is full, so you know that Psychic Leap is not going to be an option. And this is just a really awkward spot for Gabriel. And I mean, he's played a ton of Mew, so I know he's very aware of, the correct lines and stuff with this deck. But this is just one of those awkward spots that can just happen. You just kind of have a really weird opening hand and things don't quite go your way. And Gabriel is definitely got his back against the wall.
And thinking about this entire turn, too, I really like the fact that Alex got that Sobble instead of the Inteleon. Because if you take that KO on the Genesect, it opens up Gabriel to play down a Mew and Psychic Leap back into the deck, take the KO on the Arceus.
That is true, yeah. Alex recognizing, hey, I can use that Inteleon at any point in the game to KO this Genesect, so I'm just going to hold off for now, not give you that option, Gabriel, and maybe he can even take a 5-prize turn on the next turn. I was going to say the only other thing I think Alex would love to get here would be like another Arceus to start powering up, and I think it's there in his hands.
Oh, yeah. He has it already, but...
is debating actually putting it in play or not. I think it's fine to go ahead and power it up. because you're expecting this active one to get KO'd, but maybe doesn't want to give Gabriel an easy boss target.
I think, yeah, it's just an easy knockout with a choice belt, being able to take that prize with Pokemon Catcher or Boss's Orders. And it's just a little bit risky to play it down because you already have the 1 damage in the active. So if you have it sit there, then maybe it's not going to be too bad. But
and Alex is actually going to retreat the active Arceus V-Star and try to deny the prize cards as much as he can.
And it looks like no search from Alex here.
Yeah, I believe he does still have to shuffle his deck, so we'll try to get word down that he has to shuffle his deck. I believe it is ordered from Marnie. It is a mandatory search your deck from Trinity Nova.
Now it is up to Gabriel to try to figure out this turn. Has the Chromatic, but gets the tails. And now here's the Pokemon Catcher.
My apologies, yes.
Can the catcher hit heads? All right, they are having him shuffle.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a lot of these attacks, it's like you may search your deck, but Arceus does literally say, search your deck. So it is a mandatory thing, and since the deck was ordered from Marnie, you have to play that.
Yep.
And yeah, Gabriel sees the tails on the Pokemon Catcher and recognizes he can't win, scoops it up, and he's going to send it to a game number 2.
Yeah, that's the part where you really just needed those prize cards to find the other power tablet, find the choice belt.
Yep. Yeah, and I wonder what would have happened in that game if Gabriel had drawn into all those modifiers and gotten there and reached for that one-hit knockout, taken a couple of other modifiers off the prizes. Would have maybe been in a just fine spot, but that's not the way the cards played out, and Alex Garcia is going to take a Game 1 win.
Yeah, definitely just unfortunate circumstances of draws there for Gabriel. Had 4 Genesects, that Rose Tower, Cramomatics just was not able to pull it out in getting that big KO, and even discarding the Meloetta from turn 1, that was just spelled kind of doom from the start.
Yeah, and that was kind of the risk that Gabriel had to decide to go with. Do I discard my one Meloetta and hope my other one wasn't prized? And it just so happens that this time Meloetta was in the prize cards. I wonder if there was a route for Gabriel to have just tried to play things a little bit slower in that first game. Just go for a 2-hit knockout on the first Arceus and not worry about playing all the power tablets, just holding off on them and trying to build up to one-hit KOing the next Arceus V-Star. He really went all in on one specific play, and it didn't pan out, and he just lost after that.
I mean, honestly, when you have that many chances, you're kind of expected to hit it.
Yeah, for sure. But with a couple prized, and speaking of which, we see Power Tablet in the prizes again, Double Turbo Energy and Meloetta in the prizes once again. Alex did prize Melanie, which could be a little annoying, and also prized that Collapse Stadium once again, second game in a row, which is never great. But I tell you what is great, Jeremy, playing Mew and starting with a Battle VIP pass in your opening hand.
It's not too bad. Yeah, being able to search your deck for 2 basic Pokemon, put them on your bench, and then, you can just draw more cards. It's basically like, I'm going to search for 2 Pokemon and draw 2 extra cards later on.
Yeah, this would be one of the best cards ever printed, I think, if it didn't have that first line of text. You can only use this card during your first turn. If it was just a raw, search your deck for 2 basic Pokemon and put them onto your bench that you could play at any point in the game, every single deck would play 4 copies of this card. But the fact that you can only use it on your first turn, it really only makes sense in certain decks, and Mew is probably the one that makes the best sense to use it in, that can utilize it the strongest by just filling the board up, using a bunch of Genesects, and then you can always discard them later with Ultra Balls or, of course, Cramomatic.
Well, here is Ultra Ball discarding that Oricorio, and the Cramomatic finds the Meloetta, so Melodious Echo could be the attack of choice for Gabriel in this game.
So something you love to do as the Mew player in this matchup is get 4 Fusion Strike energies in play. If you can ever get all 4 Fusion Strike energies in play, your Melodious Echo is hitting for 280 damage. And how much HP does Arceus V-Star have, Jeremy?
I think 280.
And that works out perfectly. And even if your opponent puts a big charm on Arceus to give it 30 more hit points, you can always play a Power Tablet or Choice Belt to get around that.
Well, 6 cards already back in hand for Gabriel here. Escape Rope brings the Mew V to the active. You got that free retreat. Now you got a good pivot. And here we go. Genesect draws 1 card to find a Rotom Phone. And This is just Gabriel setting up for next turn, really trying to find an energy attachment.
Ooh, also has Catcher here off the Rotom Phone as an option for the next turn. I believe there is a a Alessa Sparkle. Something I think Gabriel really wants this turn that he hasn't found yet is an energy attachment. Would love to get a Fusion Strike energy in play so you can threaten the 4 Fusion Strike energy as quickly as possible. You don't necessarily have to get it in play super quickly, but you know, you can only attach 1 energy per turn in the Pokemon TCG, so you really would like to do that every turn if you can.
Little awkward the way the hand worked out for Gabriel. He has the Rotom Phone, puts a Quick Ball on top, but does have access to, I think, Cram-O-Matic in hand? Yeah, but no other items, so...
Yeah, I think he's going to cram away the Quick Ball most likely. It's a card that's not useful. You've already got a bunch of basic Pokemon.
Oh, no.
Just going to pass. Not worried about getting that extra energy in play. Can play the Cram-O-Matic on the next turn. Wait to see what the top deck is and see what how it changes what you want to do. I like that.
Again, Quick Ball is just another way to discard extra cards in your hand.
Right.
So it's always valuable when you have something like Fusion Strike System to use.
Alex has a couple of Ultra Balls in his hand, so a couple different ways he can play this. I don't know if there was an energy or not in that hand, Jeremy.
There was not.
Yeah, that is unfortunate because as Arceus, that's what you want to do. Get an energy attachment on your Arceus turn 1, or if you're going second, you can even sometimes pull off the turn 1 Trinity Charge. But I don't even know if Alex had a supporter or not. I think there's a couple Ultra Balls there in the hand, so can get the Arceus out, but I don't think is going to grab and be able to grab an energy.
Yeah, a couple Ultra Balls. You have the level ball that Alex played for the Sobble here. Inteleon, Quick Shooting, Big Charm, and oh no, yeah.
It doesn't look like there's a way to get an attachment this turn. Can still get Arceus, and then through Arceus V-Star next turn, can potentially set up a turn to attack with Melanie. We know 1 is prized, but Alex is actually playing 2 copies in this list, which is not that common. It feels like most of these Water Inteleons are only playing 1 Melanie as kind of just a sometimes an option. And that's actually a huge card to get. The Big Charm, that makes it much harder for Gabriel to go after this Arceus this turn.
You know what makes it even harder? Flipping tails on Pokemon Catcher.
Yeah, Gabriel's flipped a lot of tails so far this set, and I think it might be getting to him a little bit. He's moving pretty quickly, and I think could be a little bit of tilt experienced here. Let's see if this one can hit a heads.
Oh, okay.
Well, that's a great way to you know, fix whatever might be going bad for you, is hitting a heads on Cram-O-Matic.
Now this is the interesting part. You just get the Fusion Strike energy, right? And you have the Alessa Sparkle in hand already. But you still need a way to get the Arceus into the active spot. Maybe Boss's orders instead of the Sparkle?
Yeah,
get
but
the Double Turbo's prize.
That's right, and Gabriel is only playing 1 copy of Double Turbo Energy, and it was in the prize card, so can't go for the boss play, is going to have to find another catcher and try to hit heads on the flip.
I heard you like flipping coins, Chip. Well, how about flipping a coin to get a card that flips a coin?
That's what Gabriel has chosen to do. And it pays off, hits the heads, can bring up Arceus V, and this will put Gabriel so far out in front if he can pull off the KO.
This is the awkward part, though. You can't play the Sparkle until you find that energy, but wow.
Yeah.
6th card, you find that Fusion Strike energy, Sparkle. Now you have enough to deal 210 damage, and you just need 2 damage modifiers to take the knockout.
Yeah, Arceus here being up to 250 hit points, so needs to find 2 modifiers. That was really smart sequencing from Gabriel. Had the Alessa Sparkle in hand, could have played it before the Fusion Strike system, but chose to hold off and try to draw into 1 off Fusion Strike system, and that's exactly what happened.
Another Cram-O-Matic and another heads here. Probably going to find that Choice Belt, get it on the active, and now you just need a Power Tablet to take the knockout, and pretty much the game. It's just such a commanding position when you can take the knockout on the only Arceus V, have 3 Fusion Strike energy in play, and threaten a bigger knockout next turn.
And Gabriel could even thin 1 more card out of the hand here if he wants to. Quick Ball can get rid of the Mew V. You really don't need that. You've got 4 copies in the list, so there's 1 more hanging around there for you to get later on if you need it. And this is just more cards you'll draw off of Genesect. It looks like it's going to be 4 cards here to find 1 damage modifier.
We've been in this position before, Chip.
Gabriel is very familiar with this spot, not only in this set, but I'm sure in many others. 4 cards to come. Let's see it, Jeremy.
Oh, there it is.
Does find the Power Tablet. Perfect. Can now get this 1-hit knockout, and Alex is going to be left with just 2 poor Sobbles in play and no Arceus to back him up.
You thought they were crying beforehand.
They're really crying now.
And here is the melodious. Oh.
Oh, did Gabriel announce his attack before?
Oh, no.
I think he announced his attack before playing the tablet.
I'm saying cross fusion strike does 240 damage, and I'm like, okay, then I need tablet. That's all I was saying. Yeah, that's all I'm saying. Yeah, so I will announce my attack, cross fusion strike.
So it sounds like what happened here is Gabriel had not announced the attack yet, was just kind of
asking how much it was.
Yeah, or talking himself through it, right? Just making sure he knew how everything exactly worked. So didn't announce an attack, just talking through, okay, I'm going to be doing 240, so I do need a tablet, and he did play the tablet out, and yeah, it looks like all is well. And
that could have been very bad.
All is well for Gabriel. Not going very good for Alex here, though.
Yeah, any V Pokemon to hit the bench is most likely going to just be knocked out right away. So here you see the shady dealings for Marnie, and just going to have to try to hope and live on a prayer for these 5 cards.
And this is like a pretty weak play. You're just, like you said, living on 5 cards, hoping to find an Arceus. You've got Drizzile as more outs potentially.
I cannot believe that's
Oh, okay, does hit the Arceus in the energy, but no path to the peak. I think that was the other piece Alex really would have liked to have hit.
You just need a fade of boss's orders or a catcher for next turn here.
And this is where the game gets really scary as the Arceus player sitting across from a Mew, because they can be so aggressive with the boss's orders like you mentioned. And of course, Gabriel, only 1 energy attachment away from having the dream of 4 Fusion Strike energies in play.
No big deal.
Yeah, I hear it's pretty good.
All right, second Arceus V for Alex, as with the double turbo energy on the first one.
Gabriel does top deck that Echoing Horn right away, bringing the Arceus V to the top of Alex's discard pile. And it says, you know what, I'm just going to throw that in play. Burn a card out of the deck, and you know you're already up 2 prize cards, so you only need to get through 2 Arceus Vs.
Also, you saw Alex discard a V-Star, so it's going to be a little bit harder to get those evolutions in play, the more HP. So it's a lot easier to deal 220 damage than it is 280.
So Gabriel here is okay using all these extra resources, using the training court, using the power tablet that he doesn't need this turn, because he's just trying to boss 2 times and win the game. If he can do that, he'll close it out. He'll be the victor in this match and take Alex to a game 3, I should say. So all he wants to do is hit the boss's orders. Has Cramomatic, is actually going to choose to get rid of the Rotom Phone, and does hit a Tails. Maybe could have discarded like the Switch or the power, even discarding the power tablet with the Cramomatic, right?
You need a Switch here just because he used Cross Fusion Strike last turn.
That's true, yeah. I mean, you could find the other Mew VMAX potentially as well.
Does find another Rotom Phone off the top here, and the Mew VMAX to go along with it. So not too bad, but is only going to be able to draw 3-4 cards. Does have an Ultra Ball, so.
Yeah, has Ultra Ball, can thin the hand down, but what cards does he want to discard? Oh, this is kind of interesting.
I do like this, yeah.
Yeah, you can Rotom Phone, see the top 5, and then based on what you see, decide maybe I want to play Ultra Ball and shuffle the deck because I don't want any of these 5 cards.
Yeah, because if it's a boss's orders on the top there, you just, all right, I'll Fusion Strike System, draw the 1-2 cards I need, there we go. But now you don't really want any of those 5 cards. You can just play this Ultra Ball, shuffle them away, and try again.
Or maybe you are okay just grabbing the training court here off the top. I think that's what he put on top, and then just Ultra Balling it away. Or it could even just be fine playing it slow, just going with the Max Miracle, taking the knockout. Now you can just get 1 knockout on 1 Arceus and then a knockout on a Drizzile to close out the game. So Gabriel, I think, recognizes he's really far ahead here.
Oh, the awkward part for Alex here. There's no water energy in the discard, so if he tries to go for a Melanie play here, it's not able to be accessed just because you can't play the Melanie if you have no water.
Yeah, really good card to play with this deck, but he does still have the ability to just attach a water, had the double turbo in play last turn. So can still get off the attack, and he's actually eyeing up that Shady Dealings Intellion, and we have seen so much of that card in this format in both these Arceus decks, in the Rapid Strike Urshifu decks, in the Intellion VMAX decks. The Intellion is just everywhere.
Another Sobble finally hits the board for Alex, and there we see Shady Dealings, 2 trainers in the hand for Alex here, eyeing down the Marnie, and looks like Path to the Peak.
But let's remember what Gabriel did to end the turn last turn. Rotom Phone, put a stadium on top of the deck, preparing for this exact play. So if Alex went for a Marnie plus a Path to the Peak, Gabriel would have the response in order to draw out of that ability lock and get through the deck even more. Really smart play from Gabriel.
The thing with this line of play, too, for Alex is you're not putting on any sort of pressure here. And your opponent has 2 Mew VMAX charged up. One has that choice belt already. And if the Marnie just finds the 4th Fusion Strike energy, that's a clean knockout on that Arceus.
The Big Charm is a big grab here from Alex, pun intended. Be difficult for Gabriel to now take a knockout on this active. So Gabriel really going to be looking for a boss's orders and a way to remove this path. But like we mentioned, it's already there in the hand.
3 energy on the benched Arceus V for Alex, and with the training court in hand, it's only a matter of time before Gabriel starts to churn through his deck yet again. Now is finally able to find the last Fusion Strike energy in the deck.
And this is big because now Gabriel doesn't even need to Gust. Has 4 Fusion Strike energies in play, so now he just needs a damage modifier to Melodious Echo for the KO. And there's a Mew VMAX sitting on the bench with a Choice Belt. He's already got this knockout lined up. And Alex says, yep, that Fusion Strike energy is going to seal this game up for you. And with 15 minutes left, we're going to a game number 3.
Yeah, it's not too bad. Gabriel was able to win that game pretty fast and really just put on a lot of pressure on Alex's side of the board. Only having that one Arceus V in play really hurt going late in the game.
Absolutely. So Gabriel really just had so much better of a game in game number 2. You saw how the deck is meant to function, being able to go first, be really aggressive. And that's really a huge key in this matchup for Mew VMAX is winning that coin flip, being able to choose to go first. And here in this next game, I definitely imagine Alex will be going second. Gabriel can, of course, pop off with the Melodious Echo, the Alessa Sparkle, the Pokemon Catcher, the turn that all Mew VMAX players dream about. We'll see if he's got what it takes to pull it off.
Yeah, and it goes to show you how close both of these games were in the sense that Game 1, Gabriel missed that damage modifier, ended up losing.
Yeah.
Game 2, he hit that damage modifier, ended up winning.
Yep.
It's really just comes down to that 1 or 2 cards.
Yeah, and prizing the 2 cards in game 1 could have been all the difference, right? So with about 13 minutes left, it looks like in this round, we definitely could see this game finish, but we're coming down to it, right? Game number 3, if this game does not have a clear winner, this match would end in a tie. And a tie really doesn't help either of these players at this point. I guess if you go 5-0-4, you can make it into day 2, but you usually like to just try to get your 6 wins and then 1 tie, which both of these players already have 1 of apiece.
Looking at the prizes, the 1 VMAX, but nothing too bad. The stadiums for both players in there as well.
A Path to the Peak is a little annoying to see prize because it's something you want to find early on as Alex, but not too big of a deal. Has another one to fall back on.
When you get to draw one for your turn, that's pretty good anyway.
Just has the other one in hand? Oh, come on, man. Let's see, is there another Pokemon for Alex to put in play? Ooh, it has to be the Manaphy. Not a useful card in this matchup, but that's Alex respecting Mew VMAX, saying, yeah, you can easily get an escape rope and just KO my only Arceus. So has to play around that potential, puts the Manaphy in play.
And again, I like not playing that Path to the Peak yet. You can, of course, try to stop your opponent from just doing anything during their turn, but when they have access to 3 stadiums in their deck and ways to search it, maybe you want to wait for them to make the first move.
So Gabriel has, a pretty bad hand here, I think. I don't see any outs to getting other Pokemon in play. I think Gabriel's just got 3 Mew Vs, and that's it. No outs to Ultra Ball, no Quick Balls, no VIP Pass.
Alessa Sparkle, Escape Rope. Oh, wow. This is not what the deck's supposed to look like.
No, and Gabriel's not even going to be able to, like, Psychic Leap for a KO. Because of double turbo energy, you would only be dealing 50 damage.
Oh, no.
So he's going to choose to spread the energies on the other 2 Mew Vs. this is not good on Gabriel's side, and there's not that many cards that you want to see as a top deck. Ultra Ball is really the only one that's going to help bail you out because it'll thin your hand down and get you a Genesect. This is a really awkward position.
And honestly, it's so easy for Alex to take a KO on a Mew V next turn. All you need is to retreat the Sobble, get that V-Star, and be able to use the Melanie. And with all that, yeah, it's just a retreat, and wow.
And Alex has the Evolution Incense in hand to
Has
go get the Arceus V-Star, can get a Drizzile to get a Scoop Up Net to pick up this active Sobble as well, has everything in order to take a one-hit knockout, a two-prize knockout on the Mew V.
Yeah, here the Evolution Incense is going to get that Arceus V-Star, and then Starbirth would be able to find the Melanie or
just a Water
Scoop
Energy.
Up Net. Well, the Water Energy is already in hand, but Melanie's Scoop Up Net is the out for the Sobble.
Right. I actually wonder if you just go get like a Level Ball or a Drizzile, right? You Scoop Up Net, pick up the Sobble, and then
Just so
now
you have
a Drizzile in hand for the next turn, right? So it does have the Water Energy in hand, like you mentioned, and will flip that V-Star marker. Let's see what these two cards are.
I mean, you could just go Melanie and Drizzile, and then retreat the Sobble Melanie, and then...
That's true.
then you have the Drizzile for this turn.
That is an option indeed. Does look like Scoop Up Net was one of the picks. And maybe a supporter as well could be an option. Just go with a Juniper or a Research, I should say, and try to draw through the deck a little bit more. I don't know what other resources were in the hand, if Alex has anything he doesn't want to discard.
Also getting another Pokemon to charge up could be good here too. So it looks like Scoop Up Net and Arceus V were the cards of choice.
So not going to get the Drizzile. We'll just pick up Sobble, which is still just fine. I don't know exactly what else was here in the hand from Alex. I know there's the Water Energy and I think a Big Charm.
Path to the Peak and Boss's Orders.
Not too bad, honestly. Path to the Peak is going to be a pretty good card to slam into play.
But doing it this way does kind of limit what your options are next turn, though.
And wants to boss a Fusion Strike Energy. And this is really smart from Alex because Gabriel could have theoretically responded by just getting a Meloetta in play and using another Alessa Sparkle to get all 4 Fusion Strike Energies out. So Gabriel living on the top deck. What is it? Another Mew V.
Oh, I heard you like things in 3s. How about 4s?
What a terrible draw from Gabriel. All 4 of his Mew Vs hanging out at the top of the deck, and Gabriel's just going to scoop his cards up, recognizes he cannot win this game, and Alex Garcia will move to 5-0-1 here in New Jersey.
And what a way to do it here, just putting on a clinic that Game 3 has everything he needs in hand. And just to capitalize off that very poor start from Gabriel.
Yeah,